Hello, guys. Indian Wells round 4. Daniil Medvedev, Grigor Dimitrov. Is this the match of the entire round? Maybe. Is this the match that was kind of stolen from us at the Australian Open when Nuno Borges beat Grigor Dimitrov? Of course, it was a fantastic performance from Nuno, but still, that was the event where we were already expecting a matchup like this. And of course, it's not like it hasn't been really taking place recently, because in 2023, Grigor beat him in Paris. He lost to him in Rotterdam. Was there one more, maybe? Maybe there was one more. But anyway, this matchup has been taking place. However, since Grigor really picked up his game around, let's say, Shanghai last year, since then we've only really had Paris. And that's why and that's, by the way, not that wasn't supposed to be a paraphrase of Casablanca. And when it comes to this year, we really were excited about this one at the Australian Open, about their potential round 4 match and how that could be a big threat to Daniil. Maybe this has just been sort of, postponed until Indian Wells. The head-to-head between them is actually relatively tight, like 3-6. But there were years, there were patches when Dimitrov was not threatening Medvedev at all. There were definitely sort of streaks of matches between them when he was just getting wrecked every single time. Most of that being just on the fact that he wasn't able to hit through Medvedev. I think that Grigor should be a little more better prepared in this very mature version of his game. I'm not saying he's old or anything, but mature as in yeah, with experience, with all the years on tour. He has kind of started using his skill set better, or at least having more layers to his game, especially with the slice defense, the way he neutralizes points, the way he can sort of rely on athleticism and maybe wait around a little bit more. I just don't think he's gonna have to try going through Medvedev as sort of as violently as he can. I don't think that's the primary game plan that he's gonna have for today, and that's good for him. Which is well, I mean, if it works, then it could be the primary game plan. But I'm just saying he doesn't have to rely on it as much as in the past, and it seems that he should be able to be competitive. But we'll see, I guess. Daniil, of course, the runner-up from last year. This is something that Grigor never did in Indian Wells, but he has also been pretty solid at the venue. At least 3 of the last 4 years, because last year he, I think, actually fell pretty early, second round. So first match, that was one of the very few in recent years early exits of Grigor Dimitrov. However, that one in Indian Wells was via retirement, so of course it was pretty explainable, and definitely nothing that he can sort of remember as a bad memory because he lost a random match or something. I mean, he was injured in that match against Jason Kubler. But yeah, other than that, he's been actually very consistent in Indian Wells. So that's perhaps another good argument for Grigor. In 2021, he made the semis. That was the event where, of course, everyone missed a great chance for a title, because that's the Nori Basilashvili October version. And we were talking about this with Vansh, I think, yesterday on the stream, how that event is sort of remembered as a big chance for everyone. A first-time Masters champ this year, still 8 to go. First-time Masters champ? I don't even know what John is talking about. I mean, it is possible to get one. I guess he's maybe thinking that all the Masters events will be won by someone who hasn't won them before. But that will be pretty tough, You've got Sinner, you've got Alcaraz. And these are definitely the main favorites for now. Hello, Terry, obviously. Hey. Yeah, semi-final in 2021, Grigor, and 2022 he made the quarters in Indian Wells. So, he had a lot of good opportunities at this event in the past. Maybe this is one of them. He starts pretty well. Not really, able to say much about how the patterns will look. Good serve to get things going, sort of, and just get that first game on the board. But before that, there was a nice aggressive combo from Medvedev as well. stretching Dimitrov to the forehand and then approaching. Maybe Dimitrov in other sort of circumstances with better rhythm, maybe he finds the pass, but well, who knows? Let's see how the match sort of progresses from here, and then we'll know. Of course, Daniil has also started sort of like consulting with Gilles Simon, other than his primary coach. By the way, also of course named Gilles Servara, and we'll see if that has any big impact on him. We know that there was that special list, right, where like Medvedev gave Simon a list of 16 players that he doesn't like competing against, that he doesn't feel comfortable competing against, and Simon was sort of going to help him with that. Did Dimitrov make the list? I would assume he probably would make the list. Like, wouldn't be on the top of it, you know? It would definitely be like Bautista Agut, Manarino, Hurkacz, right? But and probably the big names as well, Djokovic, Alcaraz, Sinner. However, I think Dimitrov still probably would make a list of 16 players who Medvedev does not feel that comfortable against. That doesn't mean that he's trailing him in the head-to-head, obviously. He is 6-3 up, 6-2 on hard courts, I think. The only... yeah, because the only match they played off hard courts was the grass one in Queen's Club in 2017. That was actually a fantastic encounter. People don't really remember it because it was like kind of random at the time. You know, Dimitrov, Medvedev. It just wasn't like that big a clash yet, because Daniil obviously wasn't at that level yet, or you know, was just about to reach it. Actually, that Wimbledon he beats that's grass swing he beats Wawrinka in the opening round. But that Queen's Club match I definitely remember as just a very underrated battle between the two. I think 3 sets going Dimitrov's favor. Dimitrov, of course, ended the year at world number 3. So it was one of the sort of first performances from Medvedev that kind of showed you he was going to be huge. I think with Daniil it was probably going to be tough until a certain point to know how huge and like how stable he was also going to be at the top, but you know, just of the sort of level he can produce at his peak. And let's see, 15-all now in the second game. Dimitrov trying to break through here. Slicing down the line now. Nice response from Medvedev, actually. Of course, over the years, this has been a bit of an issue for him generally with his forehand technique, hitting through a sliced ball. But here he actually surprises Dimitrov with that sharp answer down the line and manages to get the point. Maybe this is something that the Indian Wells court can actually help him with, because, you know, the ball bounces higher. You're not gonna get such low skidding slices as sometimes a player like Dimitrov can produce at his forehand side. But in the long run, of course, it's not really his favorite court in the world, not really his favorite hard court conditions in the world, and I think that adds to the vulnerability. Even if, you know, he can obviously do fine here. I mean, last year he was in the final, but great return from Dimitrov here. Again, the flexibility, the athleticism is insane, but Medvedev still punishes the +1 forehand. I wasn't sure if he was going to capitalize on a return like this, but turns out that even sort of not having that shot, you know, as well developed as most top players, it actually still managed to close out. And the next one was a lot easier. So some big serving from Medvedev here to get him on the board as well. 1-game-all, and so far we haven't seen anything to suggest that this will be anything else than that insane close battle that we are expecting from these two. Let's see if we actually get that. I think recently we were chatting on one of the streams that like most tennis matches that we're expecting a lot from actually end up being slightly disappointing. So hopefully this isn't one of them. After on the changeover, I'll probably talk about what's happening in the other Indian Wells matches and, you know, what's finished already today. But let's first see if Grigor clinches this game. Yeah, as I mentioned, last year he lost to Kubler, but in 2022 he lost to Rublev in the quarters, and 2021 to Nori as well. Back in the day, before 2021, Dimitrov was actually pretty well. I even want to say awful on these courts. He never made it past the third round since before 2021, which for a player of his status, it's kind of poor. But the third round losses that he had was Djokovic, Gulbis, Robredo, Sock. Yeah, I mean, you would expect more definitely, but since 2021, it seems like he has turned the corner at this venue. And again, maybe it's just based on the fact that his game has added a few more layers, not as reliant on the serve and forehand really as he maybe was in the past sometimes. So far this week, he's beaten Manarino and Miller. Both Frenchmen, of course, both kind of no issue for him, but still beating Manarino in straights is a fine win always, I think, just with how tricky the guy can be. Joao Fonseca coming to Estoril. I did see that, yes, indeed. I put Medvedev's struggles versus Korda down to the match being at night. Is that fair? Um, hmm. I mean, mostly I think it's the Korda matchup still. Like, that's a bigger thing. However, yeah, the slower it is for Medvedev on these courts, it's probably not going to be that good, nice for him, even if maybe Korda also is a fast court player generally. I mean, he is like an all courter, but even if you would probably like Korda's chances generally on a faster court over Medvedev maybe than on a slower one. Here in Indian Wells, I think, yeah, it's night conditions won't really work for Daniil. But I still think it was more the Korda matchup. And yeah, I mean, still, even in the day, this won't be the where Medvedev is at his strongest, right? I mean, my assumption is that last year he kind of sleepwalked through the draw after the 3 titles just because he had so much confidence. But this year it's going to be a struggle. This year it's going to be a lot more effort required, and we'll see. I mean, of course, he didn't sleepwalk through Zverev last year, but that by that point he was playing like an opponent who was so high class that kind of doesn't matter. And Dimitrov honestly might be at that level as well. Do Hubert and Med have similar styles? Tall, big servers that like to push. I mean, yeah, when we're talking about that tall counter punchers trope, we basically often mention Medvedev, Zverev, and Hurkacz, right? Of course, they are very different, but Hurkacz would like to play more aggressive tennis, but he just can't with how meek his ground game is and like how little he believes in it. Zverev is actually fully equipped to play a more aggressive game, but again, he doesn't really trust his game, and maybe sometimes it's good for him, but for the most part, like he would want to play more aggressively actually, and I guess Medvedev is sort of in the middle between these two, where like he kind of doesn't even want to be playing more aggressively, but adding these new tools in his repertoire can also actually raise his ceiling. And of course, at the Australian Open, we saw him maybe due to the fatigue, but like still trying to force the issue more and still being very much okay. But yeah, I mean, they kind of fall into the same tropes. I wouldn't necessarily say that they have the same play style. Hurkacz and Medvedev. Hurkacz is still a lot more aggressive, but due to his technical deficiencies, I think he very often starts falling into a similar play style. And yeah, the whole big tall, tall big serving counter puncher. Yes, that very much describes all of these players. I thought the slower court would disadvantage Dimitrov in this matchup as Dimitrov can't serve and volley. I mean, can you serve and volley on these courts against Medvedev? I think you pretty clearly could. Alcaraz did it last year. Korda did it just last round. Of course, not to that extent as Carlos, but like Carlos destroyed him. I don't think Dimitrov, has to serve and volley here necessarily either. Like, it is a good tactic against Medvedev a lot of the time, sure, but it's not like something that Grigor will be basing his game on. He might use it if it's not going right, then maybe he will be going for it more. But I think that the expectation for Grigor is going to be to try to outplay him off the baseline. And we'll see. So far, everything is in the balance. Saw your message, Keen, about Queen. I mean, I am getting a bit warmer towards him, but yeah, I mean, we of course I didn't see that much against the Goose, so maybe the bagel was an injury or something, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to like say that Ethan Queen is unbeatable to players like that. But given his recent results, yeah, it is a pretty horrific loss for him. Yeah, I get that. The Medvedev serve standing very strong so far, probably stronger than the Dimitrov one. Once again, more 3 points coming Daniil's way. A nice point here from him also to get to 2-all. Of course, we've also had some other results around the Indian Wells courts. I might talk about them on the changeover when you have a bit more time. The two women's not quarterfinals, fourth rounds that have already finished today, and also the one the one that has finished on the men's side, and the other one going on, which I think we also have a stream for, but I'm not going to invite you to that one because that would mean that you leave this one. So, that would be kind of counterproductive for me. But yeah, it seems like Tommy Paul will close out Nardi soon anyway. So then we can all meet up here watching a much more interesting match between Medvedev and Dimitrov. I think, by the way, that if Nardi beat Paul today, it would be like almost as shocking as when he beat Djokovic. Let's see, as Dimitrov is saving himself from going down low 30 here, a couple of good forehands. Maybe Daniil could have parried that last one. No pun intended regarding Diane Parry, who's still in the women's singles draw and gonna play later today. That's a pretty cheap +1 forehand for Grigor. Maybe a little bit of hesitation there with the footwork. That's kind of how it looked like, where like he wasn't sure how quickly to take it, wasn't sure where to take it, and 5 forehand unforced errors of Grigor's racket already. That's the feed telling us. Seeing where Medvedev is returning, maybe he should be serving volleying a bit more. But let's see. He is in this rally, gets a nice ball for himself with the slice, and yeah, that's the money play there. Deep slice at the Medvedev backhand, and he just sets up a forehand for himself. Still wasn't a winner. I mean, still theoretically, Medvedev could get it back, but it really turned the rally around that deep backhand slice from Grigor. When he uses it smart, it's just going to be setting him up for the forehand a lot of the time, and that's after all what he wants to do. But wow, that's the first sort of spectacular shot of this encounter, as Dimitrov can't quite hit that +1 forehand too clean, given where he was trying to take it. Medvedev recovering from one corner to another, of course, like he tends to, and finds this backhand pass, very sharp angle. Such a tough shot, but after Dimitrov, you sort of expected from Medvedev, even after you saw that the Dimitrov +1 forehand down the line was not that clean, and wasn't really flying at Medvedev at the pace that maybe was required to surprise him here. Second serve, Medvedev stepping into the court and gets a double fault from Dimitrov. Was it related to Daniil putting some pressure on him? Who knows? But for now, it is a break. kind of out of nowhere, but he finds that spectacular pass at 30 all and then gets a double fault to just find an early lead. Loving the form Lehechka is in, says Matthew. Really hope he can rise to a challenge and take it to Sinner. Yeah, I mean, back-to-back matches like this against Steph and Rublev, this is something we have not seen yet from Lehechka. Of course, he's had like a couple of top 10 wins, one of them also against Rublev, but yeah, this is much more impressive than his Australian Open quarterfinal run, I think. Of course, that was last year when, like, after January and February, everyone was screaming that Lehechka will be in the top 15 or something like that in 2023. That never happened. He had a pretty rough patch later on, but yeah, if he can just start repeating this, he really seems to have taken it up a gear here this week, this fortnight even. And against Sinner, I'd love to see it. I don't know if I truly believe it, but I guess both Sinner and Alcaraz, even if we're already kind of putting them into the semifinals and we really want to get that semi, they have tough opposition in the quarters. Of course, Alcaraz, especially after that recent Australian Open match with Zverev, which he, was pretty awful and in 2.5 sets. And Sinner, yeah, considering the recent form of Lehechka, and that recent form honestly only being this event, but sorry, a lot of yawning as usual on these nightly streams. Well, it's not even that late in the night, but I guess trying to watch Świątek Putintseva today and actually succeeding was probably the thing that caused me to be a little tired by now. I also tried and not succeeded to watch Shelton Sinner. Like I did catch some of it, but not really enough to have some big read on how the match went. But well, soon enough Miami will come, and that's a better, more manageable time zone for me. Dimitrov could have had a bit of an opportunity here, but there's a net court from Daniil that he chases down. However, he still throws out the slice approach that he was trying to play out of it. He had some time on it, so it's still kind of his fault despite the net court, but could have been a nice chance to go 15-30 up after Daniil double faulted earlier. Dimitrov using that slice to a great extent again, setting up the forehand, inside in now, but Medvedev handles it all so far. Let's see who's gonna be more comfortable in this trade here. Looks like it's probably Daniil, however, Dimitrov is surviving. And tries to fire a backhand crosscourt, which I think just missed. Yeah. That's obviously some very professional shrinking the court from Medvedev here. 20-shot rally, a few fiery forehands for Grigor, which didn't really seem to impact the Russian at all. Average rally length on serve so far, Medvedev at 7, Dimitrov at 4, which is kind of interesting given that Grigor got broken, but well, you can also lose short rallies on serve, of course, and he did miss a +1 forehand there, and he also did a double fault in that game. That's some good shape now on the Dimitrov backhand cross, but he misses the forehand inside in. So far, really struggling to sort of make his way through, and maybe at times just trying to press a bit too much. Let's see if he can recover from that and yeah, just go about it a little more intelligently. 2-4 down, Dimitrov serving. That should be a point after the serve. Yes, indeed. Medvedev clearly guessing the other direction, but was caught off guard by the down the tee delivery of the Bulgarian. Tommy Paul pretty close to the win now, it seems. 6-4, 4-2. Great chance for him, this Indian Wells. Who knows? Maybe to even go for like one of the, let's say like a final or a semi. He's going to play Kasper Ruud in the quarters. If he beats Nardi, then you potentially have to play Fritz, Rune, Dimitrov, or Medvedev. It's all there. I mean, there is that possibility, and the courts do suit him. So I guess the top half is a good chance for a lot of players. It's the bottom where we still have like two main favorites, and they're probably one of them is going to be the main favorite in the final, probably as well. Dimitrov holds, so nice quick game for him to try to look for something on the Medvedev serve soon. And yeah, of course, as I said, there were a couple of women's fourth rounds already over today. Arina Sabalenka has gone out, losing to Emma Navarro in the third set. Of course, Arina's timing on these courts was like off all week, but still a very decent showing from the up-and-coming American, the former NCAA champion, especially in the third set when she kind of started playing even more proactive and actually, hit a few very aggressive returns later on. Did not just sort of fall into that trap as maybe Peyton Stearns did, where you're just relying on the Sabalenka errors at some point and they stop coming. And Coco Gauff just totally demolished Elise Mertens. I did not watch that much, but looks like I didn't miss much. It was just one of these where maybe I would have tuned in if it was close, but it was not. And they, of course, that of course will not be a quarterfinal. Navarro against Gauff, they are in different quarters, so we're gonna have basically Emma Navarro playing against either, let me, Jesus, oh yeah, Pari or Sakari, and Gauff playing against either UA1 or Daria Kasatkina. Overall, that women's tournament is kind of looking like, well, Świątek has no excuses but to win it on courts that suit her so much. And of course, that would mean that she very much sort of repeats and maintains her dominance on slower hard courts, which I don't know if we want to count WTA Finals, Beijing, but we probably can. We also have to remember Doha, of course, this year, and basically any slower hardcore tournament recently, she's been winning it. So it would be very much in line with that. And yeah, the Indian Wells courts are definitely suitable. And given the opposition left in the event, lots of pressure on her to pull it off. Let's see if Dimitrov can apply some pressure on Medvedev here. A great slice here to really trouble the Medvedev backhand. Daniil with that shovel-ish technique, just really overplaying it. But if Dimitrov is gonna have a chance at breaking back here or in any subsequent game, he's gonna have to watch out for those errors here. As we are already 15-0 after he just missed a pretty simple forehand off the ground. As yeah, Medvedev is probably gonna get some free points on serve like here, and that makes breaking a lot more tricky if you're also adding some errors out of your racket. This block return should be too short, and it is indeed. Not blocking the serves at his backhand too well, Dimitrov, so far. The previous point was the same, but he threw out the return. Here, Medvedev also had to play a +1 forehand, but no real danger anyway. So looks like another quick hold for Daniil. Yes, indeed. As he goes at the body this time, Dimitrov tries to take it with the backhand, tries to block it again, and it's just not holding up. So 5-3 after about, 29 minutes? Yeah. Pretty fast pace of play for this match, definitely, so far. We're just not seeing too many rallies, given that both guys are pretty dominant on serve. Once we actually get a rally, usually it's pretty long, but it's been really serve dominated at the same time. Well, Dimitrov could be moving forward into the court a little bit more here. If he missed that shot, I actually think he did. That's kind of on him. Like again, you saw him making like one or two small steps, trying to maybe move forward into the court, then actually decide not to, and it's hurting him so far because yeah, that last forehand was so low margin. 2 winners and 10 unforced errors for Grigor so far. Yeah, and another rally where he's in trouble, just not hitting as clean as Daniil, struggling. I don't know, maybe the wind is also not something he's enjoying today, but off the baseline so far, Medvedev 16 points to 6, which is a landslide, definitely. And yeah, just a couple of shots from Dimitrov that don't really give you the idea that he's comfortable hitting, and eventually you see that he completely messes up the preparation for that backhand. Great return here from Daniil, very close to the baseline. Dimitrov trying to hit a backhand, but again, it like lands middle of the net essentially. This has not been a very good set from him, other than serving really. And now it's Medvedev with 3 set points. First one will not be converted, but he still has 2 more opportunities. Again, Dimitrov just getting a 3 point on serve, but it's so far the issue is what's happening after the serve is returned. If they keep going like this, they might wrap up before Nardi and Paul. Although Tommy Paul, I think, has just actually finished the match. Yeah, 6-4, 6-3. So sounds pretty routine. I watched a bit of it, but Dimitrov actually making his way into the forecourt this time, and he almost misses the forehand volley into the open court. But this was all done with that backhand cross. Finally finds a great angle on this shot, and just really opens up the whole situation for him. Still almost missed the volley, but yeah, it clipped the net and it went in. Can he save the third set point as well? Yes, indeed. Very precise serve down the tee. So 3 set points have been saved. He keeps himself in it for now. Of course, from his perspective, it would just be good to give himself that one more opportunity to break Djokovic. From like less important stuff, he would also serve first in the second set if he goes down 4-6 instead of 3-6. Ace down the tee now to try to ensure that it happens, but of course that's not going to be on his mind right now. What's on his mind right now is just going to be survive and try to break Medvedev the next game. 75% on first serve so far, Dimitrov, in terms of the rate of getting it in. It's not a good sign for him that he's still losing with such a high percentage, but well, again, he just hasn't been winning too many rallies off the ground. Here the serve again sets him up pretty well. There's like this moonball return from Daniil, which might be tricky sometimes, but Dimitrov just blasted into the open court. So 5-4 Medvedev after 33 minutes. He's gonna have a chance to serve for the set. Just lost three consecutive set points on return, but maybe he will now get a chance to just make sure that we forget all about that and that it's not gonna be consequential whatsoever. Other than that, serve return, like who serves first in the second set balance, but we'll see. Fritz versus Rune is viewed as a 50-50 by the bookies. It's not, Matthew. I mean, where are you checking that? Like, Fritz is actually a sizable favorite by the bookies. Um, I have to check like how that would be for percentages, but I think it's like 60% or something like that. But yeah, actually that's not true that it's viewed as a 50-50. It might be viewed as a 50-50 for like tennis fans or something like that, but yeah, about 64%, something like that. You think that Rune should be the favorite, John? No. I mean that's weird to me. I think Fritz has to be the favorite odds wise. I obviously understand he is. I would love to think that Rune is 50-50 in that match. I would love to think that he actually has a serious shot, and this win would really like get him back on track, sort of, I think there is a high chance that it will happen, but yeah, Fritz, given the conditions, I think, given the history of the event, home soil and stuff, I think he is the favorite, or at least is in the bookies type of sense. And indeed, I mean, he is. Matthew says he expected Goff to win easy. Mertens was average versus Osaka and just relied on Osaka making error after error. But yeah. I mean, true, but like that's Mertens' game, right? That's the Mertens game. What did you expect from her against Osaka? I guess I was just thinking that maybe, well, Goff against someone like Clara Burel earlier this week also wasn't too watchable. I know Burel can actually put pressure and she has a bit of like a rocket power sometimes, but it's also not like she's, Sabalenka in terms of overwhelming weight of shot or anything. So I thought there might be an opportunity for someone to grind down Goff, but apparently today she was a lot more serious. Ferdilov up here, Medvedev, ace out wide, Dimitrov checking the mark, which of course doesn't matter because we have electronic line calling and it's a hard court anyway, but I'm pretty sure that serve was in from Daniil. Tries to sort of step into it and slice the backhand return again, Dimitrov, but it's just completely in pieces today. And it's going to be fourth, potentially fifth, and also sixth set point for Medvedev. The sort of quick pace of this match also comes from the fact that both players don't really spend too much time between points. And right now we already have the next one. Dimitrov this time trying to find a backhand return down the line, which was kind of like, I'm 3 set points down on return. I can kind of throw this point away. If it works out, okay, maybe I will have a shot, but it actually didn't. So 6-4, Daniil Medvedev, kind of a perfect set for him. He hasn't had to do all that much, just, shrinking the court as usual. Gets the balls back from Dimitrov, and most of the time it's been enough. The dominance in the baseline rallies is pretty strong so far for Medvedev. So unreturned serves, a higher percentage for Daniil as we would expect. Both players with the same amount of winners, 5, but Daniil also has 5 unforced errors and Dimitrov has 13. 92% of points won his first serve. Medvedev overall, of course, not much. His percentage of actually getting it in is much lower, but yeah, hasn't been a major difference. And all the returning from Dimitrov's side, the blocks on the backhand side, it's been so shaky, and that's also a big part of how it's going. Okay, so Fritz actually started much closer. Oh yeah, he has. You're right. Just check that. So basically, for the bookies, Fritz and Rune started 50-50, but then the market went Fritz's way, which I understand. I mean, if you think about it, Rune hasn't beaten a player sort of as good as Fritz in ages. But I do sort of wish that and hope that Holger Rune is really back on track. I think we've seen that in Acapulco and this week in Indian Wells. And if he beat Fritz, that would be a massive step forward for him. And recently, of course, his career has kind of lacked these steps forward. So I still have a lot of belief in him, but yeah, it's just not been the strongest patch, needless to say. Post Wimbledon, he was totally in shambles. Maybe some of that was the physical issues, but yeah, right now he just kind of needs a big event somewhere, an actual chance. Let's say he contends for a big title again. That would really be a return to his spring of 2023 form, or I guess we're still in winter, but not for long. 6-4, Medvedev, of course, that was the first set. Soon enough, we're also going to have Maria Sakkari playing against Diane Parry. And then at night, for me at least, 2 a.m. for me, Taylor Fritz, Holger Rune, and UA1 against Daria Kasatkina. These matches will sort of end the singles play for today in Indian Wells as they kind of switch some things around, and they will actually finish with a doubles match on center court. I think tomorrow is it that day where we have both quarterfinals, like both men's and women's. So I think tomorrow we're probably gonna have that. Although I have to check it on the tournament schedule because we still don't have the order of play for tomorrow. But I think that someone told me actually on these streams during the week that they checked it and that tomorrow it will be the quarterfinals for both. Is it here? I guess it is here on the website. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be both the women's and men's quarterfinals. So tomorrow is a pretty big day at the Indian Wells, I would say. After that, we're going to be slowing things down. Just the two semifinals on Friday, the two semifinals on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the two finals. Dimitrov serving first in the second set. So far doing very okay. Medvedev will win this point, finally getting an error out of Grigor, despite the Bulgarian's best efforts to cover his forehand corner out of position. But he's still 40-15 up. And of course, this set will be all about Dimitrov trying not to fall behind first, and then just seeing if any opportunity pops up. If he can't get that backhand return going, if he can't block the returns more effectively, it might be tough. But let's see. Gets the first game on the board, so at least he's there. So yeah, tomorrow it's going to be all quarterfinals, as I said. So we already have 3 of them lined up. Hečka Sinner, Zverev Alcaraz, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd, by the way. The sort of, I mean, the actor, who, by the way, looks like a lot like Stefano Travaglia. But yeah, just when I started reading Paul Rudd, it was kind of weird to me. But anyway, of course, his spelling is not exactly the same as Casper Ruud, and probably that's why he's called Paul Rudd, not Paul Rudd. And also, when it comes to the fourth one, of course, it will be Grigor Dimitrov or Daniil Medvedev playing Taylor Fritz or Holger Rune. Oh, maybe Dimitrov will draw out some errors here. We'll see. Slices the ball pretty deep at Medvedev. There is that forehand sort of wobbly in such a scenario, let's say, and just producing one of its first errors for tonight because, of course, Medvedev just hasn't really been missing so far. So it is one of his first errors for tonight, and it is one of his first forehand errors for tonight. Now, after the second serve, Dimitrov can actually step into the backhand, doesn't have to slice it. However, and again, just a bit of an opportunity missed, given that, well, he's love 15 down. He commits an error that, well, he wasn't even going for all that much. And with how well Medvedev has been serving so far, these are costly mistakes. Would be sort of on cue if he fired an ace here, but he misses again. So lots of second serves here. But Dimitrov is unable to take advantage as the kick serve does plenty of damage for Daniil. Trying to hit it with the one-hander, of course, Dimitrov, and it was kind of clunky. That's a better block, though. And it seems that Medvedev missed that sharp backhand cross. But still, I think even if he makes it, Dimitrov was going to be in the point. Compared to the previous games, that's still a bit of progress, as he is 30 all now. And that's one of his best block returns so far, too. How will he approach this point now? I think Medvedev just clipped the baseline with that shot. There was a bit of chaos there because, well, Dimitrov thought it was going to be out. It wasn't. He still hit the ball, which clipped the net. And we didn't know what was going to happen after that. We didn't know if Medvedev even made that backhand earlier. However, it turns out that he just did, like just on the baseline, and that the Dimitrov forehand after the net court did not end up falling into the court. So 1 game all, maybe a slight moment of danger here, but he managed to get out of it, Medvedev, without having to save a break point. Of course, especially with that backhand that was right on the line in the 30-all point. And by right on the line, I even should say clipped it, but Dimitrov is having to really inject a lot of pace here to get something going. And wow, after so many good shots in this rally, so many shots that had very little net clearance, and I was thinking that he was probably gonna net them actually. He finds this great angle on the backhand cross again, and he gets a volley into the open court because of that. And that volley he misses. Still just lost 15, but that could have been one of his best rallies of the match. Well, kinda was still, but yeah, the lack of the finishing blow obviously changes the whole thing because he's not gonna get any points for that. He's also not gonna get any points for this +1 error in the forehand. And it's again just kinda, it's not like he was super close to making it. It's hard to say what sort of overall direction and approach he was even going for. So it's again kind of a bit of a lousy one. Serve and volleying here, I think he just lands it on the line. Yeah, wasn't that clean, honestly. It wasn't as clean as it should have been, but he manages to get there. We can see on that replay from the camera on the net that he was just running into it very quickly, maybe even a little bit too much intensity, I guess, but well, he got the point anyway. Ooh. A net court return from Medvedev, but Dimitrov manages to handle it and is in the rally, lacking a bit of depth on the backhand, but then the next one is actually a good follow-up. So that mix-up of depth from Dimitrov, which I don't think was even by design, really made Medvedev lose his balance here because Dimitrov shanks this one backhand, it barely goes over the net. Medvedev has to run up to get it, and then the next one is suddenly like right at his feet. So fairly all now, Dimitrov. And again, it kind of started with a good serve, but that good serve, because of the net cord, almost still meant that Dimitrov might lose the point. And I guess he's gonna lose the next one. Again, serve out wide, +1 forehand, this time with a proper sort of idea behind it, proper sense of direction, but he doesn't find the line that he was going for. And it is a breakpoint for Medvedev, who's very close to securing a commanding lead. Again, stepping into the court, putting some pressure on Dimitrov, and it's working out. This time he doesn't get a double fault from him, but he manages to just play it pretty deep at Dimitrov's feet. And Grigor misses the +1 forehand, but this time it's like not a sitter or anything. This time it's actually a shot that he had to be kind of pretty quick about after falling on the ground after performing his service motion. So yeah, 6-4, 2-1, Medvedev up a set and a break. I can't say that he's been doing anything exceptional so far. However, he is pressuring the Dimitrov second serve a little bit here on these key points. He also is, of course, as solid as ever. And so far, that's been enough. Dimitrov not really coming up with the threats that we would expect him to come up with, and the patchy execution in the forecourt, maybe the decision making as well sometimes not that great. However, of course, part of that is just maybe Daniil burning him with that one pass and in the first set. Also, the serving of Medvedev, which has been kind of untouchable so far, other than the previous game, really. So as usual, it's a bit of a combination of the two, but Dimitrov is not really having a stunner out there so far. Matthew even went as far as to say that that was shocking from Dimitrov and that he conceded a cheap break win in both sets, which I kind of can't disagree with. He missed what? +1 forehand, that one that went long. He missed that one into the middle of the net. He missed the volley, right, on top of the net at, the first point of the game. And then also the +1 forehand at break point down. But there he actually had some pressure on himself. So like that last error is okay, but yeah, the first three kind of weren't. Let's see, can he finally threaten the Medvedev serve? Defending well with the slice here, but Medvedev is not gonna miss so far. However, eventually Daniil takes the ball to the Grigor forehand. There's a nice counter from the sort of open stance, and then Medvedev misses eventually. Once again, love 15. I think it's maybe the third game of Medvedev in this match that this happens, and I think all of these points so far have ended with Dimitrov a bit of a cheaper error on the next point. Let's see if that also is the case here. Can't believe that slice from Medvedev landed in, and I guess Dimitrov won't be able to either. This seemed like a very smart play from Grigor, again, just slicing the ball cross court and setting up that forehand. However, the forehand had to be played a little bit out of position just because of how precise that Medvedev slice was. And then the inside in, just not doing enough damage. And even Dimitrov wasn't able to cover the other end of the court from that corner. So again, we have love 15. And suddenly it's kind of over. Well, is it over? We'll see. But suddenly that love 15 at 30-15 does not seem any relevant, any threatening anymore. Nice forehand return here from Dimitrov, though. He sort of takes more initiative, starts trying to go after the angle that he was expecting from Medvedev, stepping around even before the service struck. He's right. He manages to get enough on it to bother the Russian. Great return here. Sort of when he's like fully stretched to the backhand block return, he is very good at it. However, when it's like closer to his body, it's often an issue. Let's see, can he create the first breakpoint? I think Daniil barely made the line there with the backhand cross, but on this one he misses. So again, it's just the patience and sort of neutralizing with the slice that brings Dimitrov the best results. I was talking about it quite a lot before the match began, right? That right now he just has a bit more in his toolbox, and that this is kind of the main deal. So let's see the first breakpoint for Dimitrov, and he can, save his match basically here. But this block return is a little too short. Medvedev finding a, let's say, finding himself pretty close to the line on the +1 forehand, but still like hitting it with confidence, basically, not shying away from the shot, which sometimes can be a bit tricky for him, of that shorter ball, of that lower ball. But yeah, he's punishing Dimitrov when the return is too short or too low so far. So, well, you can't go too low, I guess. I mean, basically, even when it's short and low, he's punishing Dimitrov. But again, that's a great return from Grigor. This time it didn't require any stepping around, maybe a little bit too much into his hitting zone from Medvedev, but cross court he fires a massive rocket and he's going to get another breakpoint. Will Daniil get the first serve in? That seems to be a big deal. He does. Again, the +1 forehand, but this time Dimitrov recovers somehow, despite the block return being shorter again. And let's see, can he just grind out Medvedev? Can he get another error just by slicing the ball to him? Yes, indeed. I mean, he plays 5 slices and Medvedev eventually misses the backhand, actually trying to switch to down the line. So I guess Daniil did not feel too comfortable in this exchange and tried to make something different happen. But all it results in is just a break for Grigor. So I guess this was a perfect game to sort of illustrate what I was talking about earlier, right? That the more experienced version of Dimitrov sometimes can just grind players down as well with that slice, and is not like really that reliant on the forehand. But of course, if Grigor can't get his serve and forehand to like work better and get these 3 points on serve, let's say with more efficiency, then this will all come in vain, and this will all not really make as much impact as he would have thought. However, let's see. For now, gets the first point in the 2-all game. Pretty brave on the forehand drive, I would say. That was, especially with the wind, seemingly it was a very ambitious shot, but Medvedev being in the other corner definitely helped. Has Nardi played yet? Yeah. 4-6, 3-6. He lost to Tommy Paul, so unable to follow up the Djokovic win. But I think I said it earlier that, like, to me, that would be maybe even more impressive if he beat Paul today in a way. Just because, well, you can kind of land Djokovic on a poor day. You can kind of have a great day at the same time, right? But, well, to repeat it against Paul, who is pretty awesome at this venue, and also probably a tougher matchup these days for Nardi than Paul, just just stylistically, for Nardi than Djokovic. That would be kind of as impressive if he got through. And 40-15 Dimitrov, so maybe the game is really on, as I think someone said in the chat. Will that re-break give him a lot of confidence and just fire him up for the rest of the set? Let's see, but it kind of has that vibe for now. Of course, all very much in the balance for now. I would not mind this much going free, definitely not, because it would also give me a fighting chance to watch Fritz Rune later. So, because if it ends like, in the next 20 minutes, I'm not gonna make it until 2 a.m. But if there's not too much of a break, then maybe I have a shot. Hello, Ghosty. Yeah, that's pretty funny that indeed the bridesmaid might get more action than the bride. The saying is wrong. We should change it then. But always the bridesmaid Dimitrov. I mean, he won the ATP finals. He won Cincinnati, an ATP 1000 event. He was the world number three. He's beaten a lot of great players. Has he defeated all the big four? I guess all I'm asking is, does he have a win over Nadal? I guess he has one, right? Uh, don't remember what was that, like something on hard courts years ago, but I don't know. So I guess he has a win over all the big four and stuff. So he kind of has been the bride sometimes, and recently, a bit more often. Yeah, Ghosty, you're almost too nice. I mean, say something crazy. Anyway, a bit of a momentum swing here for sure. The last couple of games going Dimitrov's way. Let's see if that continues. Medvedev will try his best not to make it so, and that ace definitely helps. We are seeing a bit of a change up in how Dimitrov is approaching the rallies now, but that switch from the slice here to the top spin one hander did not go as planned. Last game on the Medvedev serve, he was kind of just like fully committed to slicing everything back. Did Grigor just apologize to Medvedev because he went for the towel? That's kind of how it seemed, which is pretty stupid, but I don't know. I guess, yeah, the pace of play in this match, as I said, is pretty fast with the players not requiring too much between the points. So maybe that was the basis of that pretty surprising reaction. Another ace for Medvedev, 40-15. So looks like this game will be over pretty quickly, and the streak, just two, but like the little streak that Dimitrov was building up might end soon. Yes, indeed. This time the first serve goes at the Dimitrov forehand. He tries to block it, but nets it. So 3 games all. Still status quo in the second set. Some more of that big serving from Medvedev in this game, and also Dimitrov at one point of the only rally that he lost, stepping away from the tactics that have gotten him the previous break and missing. New balls, please. New balls for Grigor Dimitrov, serving at 4-6, 3-all down. Will this help him hold serve and keep up the pressure? It might. Ace down the tee is definitely a start that would suggest so. These are the forehands he needs to be cleaning up, and I don't think he's cleaning them up. Yeah, again, a +1 forehand miss, and actually a pretty wide one. Like when I was watching that on the feed, that seemed very close. I was even maybe thinking that Grigor made it, but on the close call replay, it actually seems like it was pretty far off. And this was one of the shortest returns he's gotten all match from Daniil. So messing that up is really painful for him, I think. Especially as as Medvedev is also in on the next point. Gets thrown out of the court by Dimitrov, though. Another sharp backhand cross angle. Usually he would go to the net, Dimitrov, after such shots on the previous, in previous instances. This time he didn't, but all in all, it wouldn't have ended up mattering since Medvedev missed the defensive shot. 30-15, very important point because, yeah, at 15 all, a rally like this is definitely quite crucial so far when we're watching that on the Dimitrov serve, especially. However, a double fault just ensures that we're going to get at least one more vital moment in this game. As if he loses just 1 point here, Dimitrov, then things might get very, very tricky in just a matter of seconds, even. And at 30 all, he misses his first serve again. Wasn't a bad attempt, but he's gonna have to land the second one this time. And he misses it as well. I think he was trying to kind of go for it, like, okay, 108 miles per hour. Like, that's probably faster than his usual average. So 2 double faults in a row from 1530. I guess he hasn't had as much discipline as usual so far in the off the ground, and maybe also not as much discipline just serving. 30-40 now after 2 double faults. Again, the first serve is out, so he absolutely cannot afford making another one, but the nerves will be pretty high now. Will he just roll it? He plays it pretty okay, I guess. But like, there's nothing that he's hurting with Medvedev with here. And he actually misses the inside out forehand as well. So, well, Matthew was talking about it earlier about cheap games given to Medvedev by Dimitrov. And this is probably the cheapest one of them all so far. 2 double faults, the +1 forehand that he missed from like a totally winning position. And here, yeah, here that miss was okay, but breakpoint down, he still was in a pretty decent aggressive spot. Easily could have made that and won the point. So yeah, that was the cheapest one so far, I would say. Heard Medi has a shoulder injury. How is he serving today? He's serving extremely well. He had a shoulder issue, yeah, Dubai. He had some struggles, especially against Sonego. Is it actually still the case in Indian Wells? I don't think so, or at least it's not really impacting him. I mean, today his serve has been one of the main reasons why he's winning. Or at least, if Dimitrov was maybe a little cleaner behind his delivery, then it would be different because then maybe they would be like even or something. But yeah, it's very hard to break Medvedev today. The first serve, especially when it goes in, it's been so hard for Dimitrov, especially to like neutralize it with the block return off the backhand side. Maybe not when he's like fully stretched to it, then he actually uses that flexibility well, but when it's like closer to the body, closer to the middle of the service box, he's had some real tough times so far. So 6-4, 4-3. Once again, Medvedev up a set and a break, but the main difference maker is that this time it's so close to the end of the second set, right? So it's not quite as the last one. On the last situation where we had that set and a break lead, Dimitrov still felt like, okay, so there's a lot of time for me to recover. Right now, things are getting kind of desperate for him. Let's see. Last time he was able to just get the rebreak by grinding Medvedev into the ground with the slice. I guess that seems to be the attempt here as well. He's doing that pretty well, but will it result in an error? No. And eventually it's Dimitrov who tries to switch to the topspin one-hander and just misses it down the line. I mean, I guess the main purpose of a rally like this is to just sort of get in there with the slice, survive a few shots, and then eventually find a ball that you're comfortable with and attack it. But here, I mean, it didn't seem like a ball he would be comfortable with. Let's just say that. Tommy Haas on our screens, of course, the tournament director of this event for a few years now. Part of the one-handed backhand singing team with Tommy Haas, with Grigor Dimitrov and Roger Federer a few years back. So he definitely knows him. He knows Grisha pretty well. I don't know about Daniil. Well, over the years, he probably got to know him in Indian Wells, especially last year when Medvedev made the final. Although at Indian Wells, he might not be the favorite player of the organization, Medvedev, given that he always, criticizes the courts, or at least used to. I don't know if this year there's been an opportunity to so far. 6-4, 5-3, another quick game, and Dimitrov had that 1 point really, but after that, just more of big serving from Medvedev, and Dimitrov not really able to handle the fire. Ferdilov up now on the on his serve. Dimitrov trying to get us into just one more opportunity for him to break back and stay in the match, stick around. First set, of course, this was a very similar situation with him 3-5 down. Then he actually went down love 40, managed to save the 3 set points. He goes for a serve and volley here, probably like maybe the second time of the match. Again, it works. That was some pretty good touch, not gonna lie. And another double fault for Grigor, so he's just not closing out the game yet. 40-30. Five double faults already, and of course, double faults are like kind of sometimes maybe an overused statistic. But what's sort of means the most is when they happened, and in that previous break, the second one in the second set, of course, having two of them from 30-15, that was quite crucial. Once again, on the big points, Medvedev trying to hit a more aggressive second serve return, really, way inside the baseline. Doesn't work out, but it is 6-4, 5-4. So after the break, Medvedev will be back to serve for the match. In the meantime, Diane Parry and Maria Sakkari have also started. Parry playing the tennis of her life, sort of quietly until recently. Now there's nothing quiet about her run anymore. But Sakkari, a very good record in the Indian Wells over the years, even when maybe, around the tour, she hasn't been doing that hot like last year. She was still fine in Indian Wells, so I guess she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be tough to beat here. 2022 she made the final. 2023 she made the semis. Has some wins over Djokovic and Federer. Yeah, absolutely. Federer pretty late in his career too. Stuttgart 2017, the famous one. Haas was Indian Wells or Miami actually, 2013, right? Because Tommy had a big resurgence here in 2013, and he definitely beat Novak during the Sunshine Double. Other than that, he definitely had a win over him as well somewhere, but that was like a lot earlier. Um, do you give Nuno a big chance of reclaiming his title? I think he has a shot. I think he's a clear favorite over Benoit tomorrow. I don't think that Per will play as clean as he will need to, basically. Like, I think that's kind of beyond him at the moment. And after that, I kind of think that the Nuno section was pretty manageable, right? Yeah, it was like Rinderknecht, Eubanks, Kokinakis. The quarter next to him looks pretty good. Yeah, I think he has a shot. The courts seem to be pretty nice for him too. It's like fast, but also takes spin well. It seems like he's gonna be one of the main favorites. Yeah, I think I picked Kazan on the show, but I don't remember by now. Of course, Kazan plays Berrettini in the second round, so that could very easily go wrong. Let's see. Love 15 down in the potentially last game of the match, Grigor Dimitrov. And now Love 30 as he misses this backhand topspin cross. And well, 29 unforced errors for Dimitrov. Will it be the 30th that ends the match? Let's see. Well, I don't know if this gets qualified as a forced or an unforced error, actually. I have no clue because it was Medvedev at the net after sort of forced after a net cord. Dimitrov misses a shot. I really have no clue how to classify it. I think it's a very specific situation, so I don't know if he got to 30 or not. But yeah, I mean, overall, kind of a lousy showing for Dimitrov, honestly. Daniil was fine, obviously. He was serving great. Definitely a lot of good placement as well when he was going at the body and at the Dimitrov backhand block return, or the backhand return. He didn't know if Dimitrov was going to block, but of course, for the most part, he's going to chop it, slice it. But yeah, all the +1 forehands that Grigor missed, the double faults, the way that he wasn't able to like fully dedicate himself to, let's say, grinding Medvedev down with the slice. Um, yeah, I mean, Dimitrov was just kind of shaky from the get go. I think even the easier shots for him didn't really, he didn't feel comfortable on any easy balls really. So like everything was a bit tight. I don't know. Maybe it was the wind. Maybe it was the wind, but yeah, overall, I just don't think he played very well today, and did look a bit just on edge the entire time. Yeah, Medvedev moves into the Indian Wells quarterfinals for the second year in a row, where he's going to play Holger Rune or Taylor Fritz. let's sort of wait with any predictions for what happens there. But yeah, I think against Rune, we've seen him struggle a few times. So it would be an interesting matchup. Medvedev Fritz, well, that maybe actually could be a pretty decent one for him. But let's see. Do you give Fonini or Pere a better chance of climbing back up the rankings? I guess Fonini, but I mean, Fonini is like on the verge of the top 100. I think Pere will probably stay out, whereas Fonini still has a shot to me to return to the top 100. So I would confidently say Fabio. I think he might return to the top 100 this year, but I think Per will probably stay out. But yeah, with that, we are going to wrap up the stream. Again, maybe not the greatest match, maybe not what we were expecting, but it's a solid showing from Medvedev for sure, who makes the quarterfinals in the end Wells. Regardless of the conditions, he's strong. He's a hardcourt specialist after all, even if he called this surface not a hardcourt a couple of years ago. But he is a hardcourt specialist, and who knows? Maybe he's actually a threat to win the whole thing as well. And as John says, tune into Rune Fritz in less than 2 hours. Thank you, Ashley, as well. Thank you, Keen, Terry, Matthew, Ghosty, and everyone whom I missed. I think that maybe was all chatters, but who knows? Maybe I missed someone. Anyway, see you guys pretty soon. Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Have on chauffeur. Shisha.
Ready? Play. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. But see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. And this is normal flat. But see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. So see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice actually. I'm just talking at you if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of home page, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win, 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 win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid, but these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. Hi, Novak. I don't know if you saw what Vasek said last night about organising, and tennis could and should be even bigger than it already is. If only the people organising it were doing their job properly. He highlighted the balls, he highlighted playing late at night and then early in the morning and injuries. I just wondered whether you heard that, but also if you'd like to add something.
No, I haven't heard that. I actually saw Vasek just before I came here to see you guys, but I haven't seen his statement on that. But there's been a lot of discussions on the effect of the different balls and basically every week on the joints and the wrist and the shoulders and the elbows. And I think someone told me that in terms of injuries this year compared to other years is drastically has gone up. So in terms of the balls, I absolutely agree. There should be some discussion on that. I actually spoke about that with Andrea Gaudenzi, the ATP president, and Massimo, who's the CEO, in Paris during Paris Bercy Week. And I shared my opinion and my views, and then obviously they are thinking about various different options and ways of how to regulate that and how to make it better for the players and prevent injuries. In terms of the scheduling, I think there has been a lot of criticism and a lot of players complaining about it. So I think that should be addressed in a proper way. Obviously, Davis Cup and ITF is regulated differently from ATP Tour and from Grand Slams. You have different governing bodies, different schedules, different broadcasting demands. In the end of the day, we know that the TV is the one deciding, fortunately or unfortunately, but there has to be more, I guess, thorough discussions on that as well.
Oh, okay. Hi, Botic. First of all, how was the training session today?
Yeah, I think we had a good practice session. First we played some doubles and yeah, we ended with some single points. So it was a long one, but I think we played some good level. So I think everybody's happy in the team and I think we're ready for it today.
And you seem like you're having fun as well.
Yeah, definitely. The team is having a lot of fun. We know each other quite well. We play already quite some time with each other. So yeah, and off court we hang out a lot. So it's nice. Yeah, it's a good atmosphere, I think.
Good. You mentioned in your press conference earlier about some of the difficulties you had this year. Obviously, an injury following that loss to Runa. But you said also that was quite a mental challenge as well, getting over that loss, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I was 29 after Munich or top 30. I don't know the ranking by number, but yeah, then not playing with an injury for a while, having to stop, picking up another one, losing some points, and yeah, going to 60, 70. It's difficult. I think it's also part of tennis, but I never had it before. So I think the first time is always tough when you go down in the rankings.
Was the Runa sort of injury in that final as well? Was that distracting for you, or did that not bother you at all?
No, not during the final. No, definitely not. So yeah, from Madrid on to Rome, Roland Garros. Then I stopped for 2 weeks. Had to miss the Dutch grass tournament, and then I started playing again with some difficulties. And then afterwards I twisted my ankle, so I was out again for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I came back during US Open, and then have to find the rhythm, the movement. Of course, everything in the beginning is tough when you didn't play for a while. So yeah, I think at the end of the year I picked up some good wins and I played a little bit better tennis. So yeah, that's also giving a confidence boost.
I'm gonna just ask you a question. Just want to show you some pictures, and I just want you to tell me what you think. Okay, here's the first one. You can probably see it. What's your first thoughts when you see this picture?
I think we played a terrible doubles in Rotterdam. Yeah, I think we played Gilet. No, I'm not sure actually. Who did we play here? Gilet Vliegen, I think. That's correct, huh? Yeah, we didn't win, so no, but we had fun. I think we always have fun when we play together with the doubles. So yeah.
Are you expecting to play both doubles and singles this week?
Not sure. There are some options, so we have a lot of options in doubles. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Who's better.
Next picture is this one, which is from US Open 2021. Are your overall thoughts positive, or do you still think that did you dream bigger even then?
No, I think overall, I think this was against Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, first quarter final. Yeah, when you're gonna start in qualies, when somebody says you're gonna be in the quarterfinals, I think you sign for it. So no, really positive feeling about this one, and I think Medvedev was just too good in the quarters. I think the whole tournament he was just too good.
Yeah. Next picture is this one.
I'm not eating cheese.
You're not eating cheese?
No, not like on bread and stuff. Or no, I don't eat cheese a lot. That's a.
You know you have something with Rafa Nadal. He doesn't eat cheese either.
No. Yeah. No, that's a good thing, huh? Maybe. Yeah. No, it's. No, I don't eat it like other Dutch people. Like they always had it for breakfast and everything. But yeah, I'm like I'm not eating this one.
This picture, you and him shaking hands at the ref. What does this make you think of?
Yeah, first time I played him. I think in the beginning I was a little bit overwhelmed, like he walking on court, and yeah, then they say all his best results. He won it like a couple of times, so.
At least it wasn't Philippe Chatrier, I guess. I don't know if that made any difference.
No, that's true. We played on Suzanne, yeah. So yeah, but I think it was great. First match against him there. First 2 sets. Didn't play quite well, but yeah, of course.
The last picture I have for you is.
Yeah, I think Djokovic at the moment is. Yeah.
Is it impossible?
Yeah, I think it's tough to argue with somebody who's winning so many titles. But yeah, then you have Roger. He is like did so much for the sport, I think, and he's like, I think they're all different in a way. So I think it's tough to say somebody is the GOAT, but on results wise, yeah, you have to go with Djokovic, of course. But yeah, maybe classy wise, maybe you go Federer, and I think Rafa is what he's doing. Like Shields was asking a nice question actually. He said if 2 of the Grand Slams would have been on clay and not on hard, for example, how many would Rafa have won? Yeah, I think they're all great, amazing players. Maybe the best 3 players at the same time we're gonna see for a long time.
Thank you, Botic.
Thank you. No worries.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.